Tommy Shaw.
Ed Roland.
Hi, Rod.
How you doing, my friend?
Well, how's everybody there? Everybody healthy? Family? Pets?
Yeah, everybody's good here. We've actually increased the number of pets since this all started.
Really?
Yeah.
Cats? Dogs? Or both?
Chickens.
Oh, chickens. Huh. Okay.
We started out with 4, and then there's this place called Rent the Chicken, and they will bring them to you. They'll bring a coop that's portable, and you just move it every day because the bottom is just box wire, and it's
right.
Grass, so they can peck around on the grass, and it gets a little messy. So the next day you move it over, and so every day you move it, and there's a little nesting box up at the top of it.
I want to do. You're my hero. I want to do that so bad. My wife would not allow that. I wanted chickens. I want a chicken coop in my yard. I have friends that. Well, you don't have a rooster, so they're not laying eggs or anything. You just have chickens.
Well, and where we live, it's okay to have up to 6 chickens. You just can't have a rooster.
Right. So once again, and those are free range chickens too. True free range.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. But everybody's healthy. Is everybody in the same house? Are y'all all together? Kind of quarantined together, for lack of a better term?
Yeah, and it's a pretty big house. So there's a room. This was Donna Summer's house from 1996 to 2006, and she had her whole world on this pool level. It's like the house is on a little bit of a hill. So from the front, you don't see this floor. From the back, it opens up, and there's the backyard.
Wow, that's strange. Just talking about her, the tragic moment of 9/11, she passed, and they think it was from all the whatever the craziness that was passed through 9/11, which is
that's what I heard.
Weird to think about that we're going through this craziness right now. Did you think 40 years ago that when you wrote Too Much Time on My Hands, it would become a world anthem for this day and age right now?
I know, it's almost a joke. I haven't done anything with it.
It's not a joke. It's
so obvious,
crazy. I just to let you know, I don't know how we're doing. This is the first time I've done one of these, so you and I are pals. It's funny I bring that song up. I was in a talent show, and the first 3 songs I ever sang in my life in front of an audience was Rock and Roll Fantasy, Too Much Time on My Hands, and Dangerous Type by the Cars. And I'm sad to say I lost.
Well, mine was a lot. My first gig was a talent show. I was in the 6th grade though.
Okay.
And I sang "I Want to Hold Your Hand" by the Beatles, and I had one of those Silvertone electric guitars with the amp built in the case.
Oh yeah.
And I got first. It was for the 4-H club talent contest.
Of course, you got first place, Tommy. For the love of God, you sing like an angel.
It was so much, and I knew right then and there. It's like, well, I know what I'm going to do.
Well, speaking of that, where did it go from there? How did you become a part of Styx? I mean, what was that process? Were you in another band, or did you audition?
I played in bands around Montgomery. That's where I grew up, and played with everybody. And that came down to this core band called Jabbo Stokes and the Jive Rockets. And we had 2 keyboard players and a drummer and me. And we played at this after-hours club out on the edge of town called the Copa Club. And I was doing that all through my last 2 years of high school. And so I was not the greatest student, but I already knew what I was going to do.
Right.
And that's what I got legged up doing that. I would do other gigs like I played lounge music. I played with this guy. He seemed old. He's probably younger than I am now. Hy Bromberg, and he played piano. He had this fake book, and I couldn't read music, but I had a really good ear, and I followed along and played standards and things like that. And I would take any kind of gig I could get.
And you were in high school at this time, or supposed to be in high school. Let's just say that.
I was in high school, and I was the 4th kid. So my parents were, they weren't going to have to put another kid through college.
Right.
It was like, can we help with something? Do you need a van? You know, what can we do for you? Because
That's awesome. That's awesome. What style was that music? I mean, was it similar to what Styx was learning to do before you came in there? Like that, what was the name of the band again? Something Rockets?
Oh, Gabbo, Styx, and the Jive Rockets. No, we did, we were a soul band.
So, okay.
We played, what we would do, we would learn, we'd just figure out the changes of the most recent hit soul songs like Joe Tex and that kind of stuff. And we jam on it, and we kind of get the words right. We just make up our own versions of it. And, you know, we're playing 4 sets a night, so you just jam on stuff.
So where did Styx come into play? Where did they hear about you or see you, or did you hear about them and audition?
Well, I had played around with just about every musician in Montgomery, and I was wanting to just see what else was out there. I got this call from a guy named Bobby Smith up in Nashville, and he said, "I want you to come up to Nashville. We're putting a band together." And so I was like, all right, I was ready to go, and gave me an excuse to go up there. But it turned out he wanted to build a band around me. And I was like, I don't know shit about building a band. You know, I want to get in a band with a bunch of experienced people, and I can learn from them.
Right.
So I was just, God, I was so disappointed. But I went up there. A friend of mine, just a buddy that would hang out with me, we were in school together, and we both liked the same girl. So we actually became friends when she broke up with both of us. And so he one of these guys who's just, you know, very gregarious, great pool player. And so he went up there with me, and we went to see a band at Printer's Alley. They were the 7-piece horn band called Smoke Ring, and they were so good. They were unbelievable. And he went and talked to them, and somehow got me up on stage with them, and then talked them into hiring me. And I talked them into hiring him. And then off we went for about 2.5 years. And that's how I got the Styx gig, was playing at a place called Rush Up on Rush Street in Chicago. We played there. We must have played there 150 times.
Oh, really? Was that mostly covers then? Were you doing any originals at that point?
Oh yeah, we had a lot of originals, and we were like funk and rock. We would do Tower of Power in Chicago, but we would also do Uriah Heep, because we all had high voices and we could sing harmonies like that.
Oh, that's cool. I never knew. That's awesome. So then, just who approached you first? Was like JY? Do you even know? Was it management?
Well, what happened was disco music came along, and the gas shortages, and
right.
And little by little, the club owners were like, "Screw you! We don't have to listen to your original songs. I've got lights and a PA system, and we can play songs people know." So the gigs all dried up, and I moved back to Montgomery from an invitation of a friend who I'd worked with before. And he said, "Hey man, we got this gig in a bowling alley lounge. There's no dance floor. People, just about 100 people can fit in there, and they come and listen to music." And the best part of it was $200 a week. And I looked at I still have, I think, my last paycheck check from MS Funk. It was $25. So it was like 8 times what I was making. So, but that was a great, it was a 6-month deal. And about 6 months later into that, and we had written some nice songs, and it was very sweet. I had a house, a car, and but I got this call from Styx's tour manager, who had seen me play at Rush Up, and they had a tour booked. They had a new record out, Equinox, and they had a tour book. They had a new manager, and one of the guys in the band just up and just walked away, and they didn't want to have to reschedule everything, so they put out these feelers and found me in Montgomery, because I didn't make my number private. They got me through directory assistance. And, their tour manager said, he was the one who'd met me before. I said, "I don't know, Jim." I said, "I got this pretty good gig down here. I make like $200 a week, and I'm doing really well. I didn't really know that much about Styx. And he said, that's good, but why don't you come on up for the audition? So I did, and they never really told me I was in the band, but they said they would, look, we need you to go home, get your stuff, and come right back. I said, I can't leave my band hanging like that. And JY says, we will pay your band a week's salary, that whatever they're used to getting. And so that went over really well. And then Beth Nielsen Chapman came and took my place and started the very next night. So they actually made money on me leaving.
That's awesome. That's a great story. And it looked like an easy transition when you came in. I mean, because the first record you were on, did they expect you to be a songwriter, or did you show them when you first came in? Because I love learning how all this evolved.
I never even picked up a guitar. I mean, I think the test. Well, I looked like I fit into the band, and that was important to them. And then we sat around the piano and we sang "Lady," and they gave me that high D and high E to sing.
Right.
And I listened to them sing, and I was used to singing like Dan Fogelberg and Eagles songs in the lounge like that. These guys are like foghorns, so I just sucked it up and sang those high notes, and I played them a couple of tapes of some songs I'd written, and they said, go home and get your stuff.
So the transition, it was pretty smooth.
Yeah.
You had to make life decisions, but I mean, they, as the band, JY and the Cats, just kind of brought you in. And
yeah, they gave me some albums and a list of 13 songs to go learn, and went home and listened to that and did that and came up. We had afternoon rehearsal, and then the next day hit the road.
Oh man, really? One day rehearsal?
Yeah.
That's the old school right there. I love it.
So how about
learn in front of thousands of people? That's the best way to learn it.
So I
love how you became immediately such a part of the band. I mean, literally for them to embrace you like they did and bring you in as a singer, songwriter, all of the above. I thought you'd have never known had not been there since day one. To me, as a fan,
I was so excited to be in that band. I couldn't stand still on stage. And JY, he's like this very statuesque,
oh yeah,
rock god, and I'm running around him like a and I couldn't help myself.
That's awesome. That's what it's about. Let the spirit flow, baby. Let it flow.
Yeah.
Man. So riddle me this. So I got to see y'all 3 times, and I've always said this story. I used to sit at my dad's church and we had turtles, and I saw you on Pieces of a Cornerstone and Paradise Theater. Of those 3, where do you feel like you came together? What was the moment at that time of the band? Do you feel like y'all were on top of the world, like y'all were like kicking it as a band, not success radio or sales wise, but like as a unit, as a band playing together, like a band, like you get off stage every night and go, fuck yeah, man, we just kicked ass. It might've been every night. I don't know. Was there a certain point in those 3 records? Because those are a very important part of y'all's career.
I was just listening to the first album that I did with them the other day. It's called Crystal Ball.
Oh yeah.
And, they had an engineer named Barry Mraz, and they had a good studio right downtown. And Barry was old school. He just did such great recordings. He tuned the drums himself, and he didn't want to hear anything from anybody about engineering and that sort of stuff. And he did such a beautiful job recording that record. And I took some bits and pieces of songs that I'd written when I was in that band, who had ultimately become called MS Funk, from Muscle Shoals Funk. And so there's little bits and pieces of MS Funk all throughout that record, but they blended so well with what the band was doing, the band's rock energy. And MS Funk was an ass-kicking band. It was different kind of more of a Zeppelin, Who kind of inspired rock, not soul rock. And so I still remember doing those vocals. Like the first song on the album is called "Put Me On,"
Mm-hmm.
It's like my high note was an E. The first note I sing on that record is a high E, but they're singing the fifth and the third.
Right.
And it's pretty in your face from the get-go.
Right.
And and then as time went on, we got more and more of like a true band, and I think the music just continued to grow.
No, I agree 100%. And once again, like I said, for them to, even name the first album you're on, Crystal Ball, your song, is pretty welcoming. I don't know many bands that would do that. I mean, first off, it's a great song. They should. But that's why I was asking, was there a point in any of those three that I mentioned where y'all were like, you felt like, you grow as a band. You have to. You always want to grow as a band. Was there a pinnacle in there anywhere that you felt?
I felt like our best,
I'm not asking for the best record. That's unfair to ask. I'm asking where y'all felt best together as a band, as a pinnacle. Like, y'all, nobody, you could whip anybody's ass at any moment on stage.
Well, it kind of works together though, because where everyone was all in.
Mm-hmm.
Or the money starts changing things. When
right.
You realize about publishing and things like that, and that starts to erode the let's get together and co-write thing.
Right.
At least it did with us, which was a shame. But that after Pieces of Eight, it started really getting fragmented. But I thought Pieces of Eight was the best of everyone, and it was one of our biggest tours. By that time, when we added those songs to our set list, it was pretty impressive.
Yeah, it was game on at that point for fans. I mean, it was game on to me. So let's move forward a little bit, if you don't mind. Like the last record. Well, I want to start with, you said you didn't play guitar much. You just said that a minute ago. What were you playing?
At the audition, I brought a guitar, but I never opened up the case.
Really? It was more vocally, or?
They wanted somebody to sing those high parts. Somebody looked the part. The fact that I wrote music and played lead guitar, that was just okay. That's great.
And you'll look 28 forever. They actually had that in mind too. Tommy will look 28 forever.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus, yeah. I want to drink the juice you drink from, young man.
Don't look too close.
But I want to get back to because on Cornerstone you introduced the mandolin. I think that's the first time I heard it on a Styx record. Am I correct or am I incorrect? Did you put it somewhere else where it was standing out more there?
Cornerstone, is that the one that had Boat on the River on it?
Boat on the River, that's the song.
Yeah, because I had bought a mandolin during the break, and I brought it home, and I was like, I play guitars, I can play a mandolin. I got it home, and I was like, no, I can't.
Yes, you can, because I love that song. That's what I was asking. Was it something, you just answered the question I was going to ask. Is it something you've been playing, or you just got one when you got home and started learning it and wrote the song?
Made up a song, yeah. And I had
that's awesome.
Tascam 4-channel reel-to-reel tape recorder. So I recorded a mandolin track, and then I recorded an acoustic guitar track, and I think I had a bass track, and then or maybe it was just those two things, and then I sang, because there's a harmony on it.
Right.
So
but that instrument kind of stuck with you, because when you did your solo record, one of your solo, The Great Divide, you did that start influencing you more into I want to use the Americana sound? Was that the beginning of that, or did that take more years till you started wanting to get more into that on a personal level?
I had to learn some other. I kind of added it to what I play, and
right.
I'm still learning on it. I watch Marty Stewart and just, how are you doing that, man? But I love the mandolin. Sam Bush played on my record, so I got to sit with him.
Yeah. And you didn't really play. Yeah, you did. You played what do you call the guitar that resonates? Dobro. That's what you played mostly, I think, from what I remember reading. Resonator.
I played the Dobro resonator guitar, and then I played some acoustic. I played a lot of acoustic rhythm guitar on it. Brad Davis played, he did some of the heavy lifting on it acoustic because he's this sensational bluegrass picker. And he was the one who got me started on that. He came to me, we're over at Billy Bob Thornton's house one night. All these musicians are over there, and Brad was working on some of Billy's stuff. And he had heard me singing, and he said, have you ever done bluegrass? I said, no, but I mean, I grew up in Alabama. I've sung. I haven't, you know, done it in a band, but he gave me a track, and he said, go home and put some harmonies on this. And so I did it, and I loved it. And so he said, we should get together and write something. So he came over to the house, and first thing we did was we wrote this song called I'll Be Coming Home. And just like that, you know how when things are,
when it's clicking, yeah.
And we just kept writing them, and it was like, well, we need to record all this stuff, and that's how it happened.
That's great. I love that you have the ability. I mean, you know, most people, of course, will know you as Tommy. I mean, from Styx, Damn Yankees, Blade and Shaw and Blade, whoever's in charge that day. I don't know. But I so much enjoyed that record. I did. I just like seeing that different side that you would never recognize that an artist would do. And I applaud you for having the courage to do something like that, because it's just so not what people want to do, you know. And it's a really good record, man. I put it back on because I only listen to vinyl, and Charlie sent me the vinyl when it first came out. And like you, we're gone so much. When I come home, I'll put it on, but I put it on 2 days ago just to kind of refresh my memory. It's a good fucking record, dude. Well, you should be very proud of it.
I am. It just happened as every day we would come in there, and we started looking at these songs we were amassing in there, and we're going, this is good, right? This is pretty fucking good.
Here's a line I remember because it got me. It's the end. I forget what song it is. Put on the fancy tablecloth, take everything else off. What song is that? Because every time I hear it, I'm like, oh man.
Back in Your Kitchen?
Yeah, that's it. That's awesome. But I applaud you for like doing things like that, because I think that's just an expression, and I think people need to know that there's more, like, you know.
Well, listen, that brought us to Nashville. My wife grew up in Clarksville, but we were living in LA for about 24 years. Got me into Nashville and into a studio and Brad knew all these great players, and they just kept coming over, and it was the musicianship was just insane.
Yeah. Did y'all do that analog? I know I'm going to get nerdy on you for a second.
No.
You did it. Cool. But I do know this, because I want to move forward a little bit with the Mission. Y'all did do that analog.
Everything hit tape. Every single thing hit tape.
And
drums were recorded on 2 24-track Studers, and we did a lot of stuff in Pro Tools, but every bit of it went to tape.
Went through analog first. I love that, man. I think that's great. That's how we used to do it, but you know, we don't have that much space anymore. I keep everything in the house. My wife's going to kill me if I put another damn instrument or
I know
any recording gear.
Guitars hanging
but
up.
Let's go back to the Mission, man. I love that record. I think it was, and you purposely did that as a concept, correct? I mean, did you think about that from the beginning, or did these songs start coming? You go, wait a second, we can do this conceptually.
Well, you know what? It's ironic. Just this morning, Jason Powell.
Yeah.
He's putting together the visual parts of these live shows that have been remixed, and they were playing every other Saturday night. So he asked me, "Do you have this?" He asked me if I could find this one file, and it was a video that I did years ago, and it was like I was in there looking through, and I just don't have it. But now I forgot what I was talking about. What were we talking about?
Mission.
The Mission. So I'm going through videos, and the last thing that I came up on was the riff that started the whole Mission album. You know, let me find a guitar.
Oh, I love this.
And it was on a Stratocaster. We were on a cruise ship. I set up my iPhone and I'm going, no, I was going. I was trying to teach myself that, and I said I have to put it on the iPhone or I'll forget it. So I finally, you can hear it starting to come together.
Yep.
And then what I did, it's like, then I would go playing along with myself. So I was like, I'm not going to remember that either. So I put my iPad up.
Multi-recording through iPhones.
I recorded myself. We're in the bow of the ship in this dressing room, and I recorded myself playing along with playing along with that, so I would remember it. And then I took it home, put it into a session, and it wrote itself.
But did you start thinking that I'm going to make a concept record? Or did it just kind of breed itself into that? Does that make sense?
Well, when I put the session out, I was like, I need some words because I want to sing it. And the first line that came out was, "Now I can say this is the day we'll be on our way on our mission to Mars." And I looked at it, was like, okay.
There's your thesis. There's your thesis. Yeah.
I just started writing things about Mars, and it was a kind of limerick style thing. And it literally wrote itself. And so it's like, I've written a lot of stuff that I've never played for people because it's like, no, I shouldn't have played that for anybody.
Right.
But Willie Vankovich, who worked with me on The Great Divide, and he worked with us in Shaw Blades. He's a writer and a producer and a singer and a player. He's a great guy. So I sent it to him because I knew he wouldn't laugh at it. He would he would be nice. Even if he didn't like it, he would be nice. It would make me feel bad about it. So I sent it to him, and I'm waiting to hear back. And he said, "That's kind of interesting." He said, "I've got this song that I don't know what to do with," and he sent me back this song of his called "Locomotive," and it was actually about old locomotives. Where did they go and that sort of thing. But I heard it and was like, I've got an idea. This could be bookends to a story. And from that point on, that's
just kind of flowed naturally at that point.
It was another one of those things that kind of got a life of its own, and we just went with it.
Are y'all recording now? May I ask that question? Am I letting too much out? You don't have to answer if you don't want to. Are y'all planning on doing another record?
We are planning on it, and we actually have enough. You remember how you got when you had the record written and you just kept writing?
Oh yeah.
So that's kind of where we are right now.
That's great. Is it going to be a concept record, or is it going to just be more of like songs everybody's kind of pitched in?
It's kind of like The Grand Illusion. They call it a concept album, but it's really just a snapshot of time where we're at this time. Do you
find that offensive that people call it a concept, like The Mission? Do you consider it a concept album?
I consider it a concept album. There was a time when record companies thought, "Oh God, not another concept album." But Styx was I thought it was a compliment to say that was
I do too. I think people don't understand is songwriting to keep a theme going and keep it interesting musically, lyrically, which y'all did an amazing job on The Mission. It's pretty damn hard. It's easy to me. Well, I shouldn't say it's easy. It's not easy to write a song. It's just not. People think that it's like going to take a piss. And it's years of turmoil in our lives that add up to whatever age we are at that point that we realized there it is. To write a concept album is beyond me. Because to keep the theme going on and on, and as well as y'all did to keep it flowing the whole way that's pretty darn impressive.
Well, there was something, especially when you're co-writing, you just get so adrenalized with it. And we had this song called Radio Silence. You know how some songs, like I say, they write themselves.
Right.
Radio Silence was like, we knew there was a good song in there, and we just kept rewriting it. And then I'd wake up early in the morning, I would go, "Oh, I got an idea." I'd go down to the piano and, all right, because we had a chorus before that was horrible. It's just, oh God, it was like, I don't know if I have a copy of it because it's just like, God, that's like a bad, whatever. But so we just worked at it. And
what defines that, Tommy? I mean, seriously, what defines bad? I mean, because once again, it's emotionally, it's just not good up to what you feel at that moment.
Well,
or it just didn't fit the flow of the song and the melody, the everything.
It sounded like somebody I didn't want to sound like. It was a style of music and a band that I just not I don't want to sound like that. So, but
right, okay, fair enough. But it's hard to say that's bad because you got to let it out.
You got to record the crap. And that's what happens with writing new stuff. It's like I have to write a bunch of kind of mediocre songs to just kind of get everything, the synapses all in place.
Well, yeah, I don't think they're mediocre. I just think you gotta let the evil spirits out to get to the Holy Spirit. So
that's a lyric right there, man.
So that's the way I approach it. But do you ever think y'all overthink it? Because that's something I learned early on in mine, and I don't overthink it anymore. When our band comes in, I show them the song and we knock it out that day, because I don't want to overthink it, because I used to do that and it was a problem for me, because I will sit down, I'll go nuts. Do you ever feel that you do that?
Yes, we do both. Sometimes when it's just got a life of its own, you just go with that. And
right. Is there somebody there to catch you, and y'all, when you feel like you're digging in too deep? Does that make sense? Is there somewhere to go, hey guys, that's it, let's move? Is there someone there, or do y'all do that internally with each other?
We're very supportive of each other.
Okay.
And yes, we will kind of, we've all learned to be diplomatic because we've all had our feelings hurt before. And right. You don't do that. You go, there's diplomatic and gentle ways to, try it this way, or let's try it, most of us are our own worst critics, so we don't need anybody.
Right, and everybody wants the best.
Yeah.
But y'all are confident enough, and this is what I love about your band. Y'all are secure enough with each other for somebody to go, okay, guys, we need to either dig deeper, or that's enough. This is great. We're overthinking this. Do y'all have that confidence and security within a band to do that? Correct.
Everybody comes prepared, and then it's just little notes here and there. And everybody throws down. I feel like I'm like the worst musician in the band and the least dedicated compared to all these other guys. I mean, they're so. It's just such a treat to play with them.
Well, that is a talented band, and you are too, sir. So I don't think there's a low, high, or anything like that. Yeah. We're just badasses. That's all I can say.
Insecurity has been a driving force.
Well, that's where we are. What we are. If we weren't insecure, I always say we wouldn't be on stage. Even on our worst nights, we get clapped for. If I go to the grocery store and the lady hands me my change back, I don't clap for her. We get clapped. We get rewarded every night.
And I think that's something like that. But with what
it's a drive.
Yes, and we're not getting that right now.
Is this the longest you've been home in a while? Because I know y'all tour constantly, and I know y'all love to tour, and everybody loves to see y'all on tour. What's the longest you've been home in the last 10 years? Could this be it?
This is it. It's the first time I've ever been here in the springtime, because you always go out and you're touring.
Right.
That's the one thing I got to see, see and smell the apple blossoms in our backyard. It's like, I never saw that, never smelled that.
Plus, it had little diesel fumes from the bus,
right.
With it.
Yeah. And watching the trees go from no leaves to the leaves are coming out now, they're just green, and it's just, I'm just amazed.
Do you have a pollen problem up where y'all live?
Oh yeah.
Was it bad this year?
It's bad every year. I've got
Is it?
I don't know if you can tell my voice is a little raspy. This is what I call my Nashville voice. As soon as I get on a plane and go somewhere else, I have an edge to I don't have an edge to my voice here.
Really? Is it the pollen or the
It's allergies.
Allergies, yeah.
I can sing, but my speaking voice is a little hoarse. Goes away.
It's kind of sexy, Tommy. It's kind of, you know.
You do what you
be like on a TV show like Chicago PD. I've been catching up on my TV shows. I love that show for some reason. They all whisper every time. They're cops and they're always whispering like this. But they have that gruffness. I don't have that. But you got it. You could be a special appearance on Chicago PD.
What would I be?
Are you watching anything right now? Are y'all bending on anything, TV shows or anything?
We watched all the Narcos. There's one in there called Queen of the Desert. I don't know. We didn't do that on this. No, we did that before this. We finished up season 3 of Ozark. I don't know if you've seen that.
I couldn't get through that. The first season threw me off, man. I'm not.
It's not for everybody, but if it is, woo!
Was it good? I heard everybody loved the season 3.
It's very consistent. REO was in the next to the last episode of season 3.
Really?
Yeah, and they were very respectful. I mean, it was they wrote the script around what was the song? Yeah, I'll think of this. It was one of their big.
Time for Me to Fly.
Time for Me to Fly. Yes, Ashley says.
It was angel from above.
Time for me to fly.
Oh, speaking of gruff voices.
So it was Time for Me to Fly. They wrote the whole script around Time for Me to Fly.
That's awesome.
And it matched the script perfectly. I mean, it was Laura Linney's driving down the highway singing, these words that go right with the story.
That's awesome.
And they got to play live. Or
really?
Yeah.
On the show?
Yeah, you see them in the background. They're lit really well. It was a very respectful.
That's great. That's great. Hey, before I go, I know we can go on forever, but I do want to mention that as most people know, you're one of my heroes, and you know that. I'm not trying to make you go, you know that. You're just one of those cats that inspired me. Had it not been for you, I don't know. Just going to see you and knowing you were from the South, being on the big stage as a little preacher's kid in a small town in Georgia, I was like, I want to be like that cat. I want to sing like that cat, but I never will. So I had to learn my lesson the hard way that I can't sing like you or perform like you, but, find your own way. I want you to talk about y'all's Rock to the Rescue, which y'all do, because once again, when you meet your heroes and you realize not only they're talented people, but they give back to the community. And I really want you to talk about that if you don't mind, because y'all have done so many wonderful things. And I know y'all do it without wanting recognition, but I think it's important that people know what you cats, Styx, what y'all do, and with wanting nothing. Just explain it, if you don't mind.
Well, when 9/11 happened, it was the most powerless feeling that I could recall. It was like, what are you supposed to do with that? And
tell Jay why you'll call him back later.
It's probably one of those calls that you don't pick up.
It's Charlie.
So Hazel picked it up.
Okay.
It was one of those things. I talked to Charlie, and we're both like, the one thing we can do is we can play shows. And he said, why don't you call Kevin Cronin and see if we get Styx and REO together and have a benefit concert. And my friend in California, Bobby Prokop, he just happened to be friends with somebody who's worked with the Port Authority Police Department in New York, and you weren't hearing anything about them. even though they were headquartered in one of the towers, one of the Twin Towers. Smaller workforce, like 680, something like that. But they had significant losses in that. And so he said, would you like to try and do something with the Port Authority Police Department? And that's what was when Charlie said, let's call Kevin and see if we can do a concert, see if we can raise some money for them. And so Kevin, of course, was like, yes, let's do it. But we put it together and called all of our friends, and everybody said yes. So it was a gigantic concert. Skinner did it, Bad Company, REO, Kansas, just one band, Journey. It was insane, and we raised a lot of money. We wound up doing another one out at Brendan Byrne Arena, and all in all, then somebody at the Port Authority Police Department who was in charge of the Widows and Orphans Fund said, "Look, all of this money is going to go to them. There's like 38 families or something like that." And he said, "This is going to go. We've talked to everybody. No one's going to take any commissions on it. This is going to be split up, and everybody's going to get that money."
Mm-hmm.
And so the day came when I got to go down to the bare level where they were cleaning out the site of the World Trade Center, and they were those guys were down there working away at it. The president had been there the day before, and they had a little platform set up. You'd still see George Bush's nameplate right there, and everybody was there. So
So you were at ground zero.
We're at ground zero. I presented a check for $750,000 to George Lawrence, who was the guy from the police department, from the Port Authority Police Department. He took that check from me, and we looked at each other's eyes, and both of us are, I can't hardly even talk about it right now.
Dude, that's you don't have to, you just said everything. That's awesome. But y'all have continued on from that. That's the beautiful thing. Y'all have continued. I'll get you off that because I know that's emotional. It's emotional for everybody.
Okay, it's fantastic. I love that.
I know, but like, just once again, I just want people to know what y'all have done as an organization, as a band. It's not just music. Y'all give back, and y'all have continued.
Well, George and I we're brothers now. We call each other and we tell each other we love each other. We say Merry Christmas. I was a fan, he's retired, but that's one of those things that you just never forget your whole life.
Right.
And I felt so blessed to be able to hand them that. Anyway, so Rock to the Rescue, we called that Volunteers for America. Well, there was already a charity named Volunteers of America with a 501c3 standing, but they kind of let us slide on it. That's how Rock to the Rescue came to be. And now that's illegal. You have the right to raise money and give out grants. And we've been working with that ever since. My daughter came along, and she came up out on the road with us. She came up with this format of how we go up on stage and present who we are as a charity. And we pitch everybody. When you buy this or buy the CD, you get a raffle ticket. And at the end of the evening, somebody's going to win a signed electric guitar from Styx.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how we've raised the money, for years now. And when we do that, we have, and Hannah came up with this, because she's an animal activist. And she said, let's get a local animal, like an animal shelter or something like that, to come out, and we'll have those people come out and they'll help us sell the CDs, and we'll give them a big chunk of the money that comes in. So what winds up happening is that's usually their largest donation of the whole year, these little grassroots organizations. And it spread out to like food banks and wounded warriors and things that like the Shriners for St. Thomas hospitals. And so we had a pretty nice array of charities that we've supported over the years now.
That's awesome, dude. And once again, I'm glad you explained that to people, because, like I said, it's great to have a hero that's a hero, not only in music, but in society and being a good human being. Thank y'all, man. Dude, thank you for hanging out with me today.
Hey, it's a pleasure.
You, are you bored yet?
I have to tell you, though, I told you before we started that there was a connection between you and our chickens.
Oh, boy.
They one of the things and I've had chickens before, and I remember you want them to get to know you, and
Mm-hmm.
you relaxed when you were coming around. And so, you know, some people, Jeannie's, my wife, she sings a little song. And I decided and I don't know, I just started doing it one morning as I'm walking out there, I would go.
Oh, look at you. Look at you. I'm going to bring that up.
My chickens know me from that song.
They know for porch swing.
Yeah.
Dude, I can't thank you enough for doing that. We were like, the boys, we talk about it all the time. What a blessing for us. I mean,
That was thank you so much for having me do that.
Are you kidding me? It was awesome. And I love that you know, when I sent it to you, before I sent it to you, I called you and said, we're not trying to sound like Styx. We're actually trying not to sound like Collective Soul. I was going back to like the Great Divide, where you were kind of, you know, I knew you were kind of that Americana vibe, and I just thought it would fit for both, just a little marriage, a mixture there. Thank you so much for that. So, so the chickens will not attack me when I come over to the house, as long as I whistle porch swing.
Yeah, whistle that song. They'll think you're me.
No. Well, thank you, Tommy. And it's the first time I've ever had to do anything like this. You made it easy as always, and it's a blessing. It's a blessing to talk to you anytime and anywhere. So, God, please quit looking like you're 28 years old. You're killing me.
Hey, man, take care. Stay safe, and
same here, brother. And you know, everybody obey the rules. Everybody be respectful, no matter what the government says. Just take your time. There's no right or wrong at this point. Just whatever it takes.
I want to survive. We don't want to hurt anybody else.
That's it. That's the main thing. You don't want to hurt anybody else. So, well, hopefully we're all back on the road this year. And if not, once again, we have to be respectful and responsible, and then we'll see you in 2021.
Amen.
You got something on the guitar you want to play on the way out? You know you did.
Oh, shit. Well,
I put you on the spot there. I caught you. I got you.
If I don't die. That's not the right song to sing. It's a good song, but it's a wrong song.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we wish you a good night.
Love as a light, it's on.
There you go.
Hey, bud.